League of Legends World Finals happened over the weekend, and to be honest with you, it was the best we've ever seen. Returning Korean champs Damwon Gaming came within inches of getting the title that everyone expected them to get, but EDG clearly hadn't read the script. What followed was easily the biggest upset slash anime slash fairy tale ending that we've ever seen at Worlds. Look, if you want to see more League content on this channel, it's pretty simple. You gotta like this video, you gotta subscribe to the channel, you gotta leave a comment down below. That's the only way that I can convince the higher ups that we should be doing more League content. So help me out, okay? Alright, so like many past finals over the years, this year was a battle between the two undisputed best regions in League of Legends, Korea's LCK and China's LPL. Alright, moving on, spoiler alert, EDG won Worlds 2021. There you go, it's out there now, I guess. But before we talk about them, we need to talk about the team that was expected to win this year's Worlds, Damwon Gaming. From the moment they lifted the trophy at last year's Worlds, the Korean Kings were the favourites to win in 2021. And that's not just my opinion, they were the bookies' favourites. The smart money was on them to win this year's tournament a whole year ago. After Worlds last year, Damwon will go on to comfortably win their domestic Kesper Cup, as well as both the spring and summer LCK splits. They didn't take their foot off the gas at all. They absolutely floored it. In fact, the only real blip on the way to Worlds this year came at MSI when they were upset by China's RNG.
Without summoners is incredibly vulnerable. They're setting up for a three-man play here. Flash Zenith Blade is beautiful. The follow-up is there, and Showmaker is gone. But Xiaohu on the flank. He wants to go. Xiaohu's ready to go, and they're already gone. Showmaker is down. They're going to pick up the second on the Canyon. They'll continue pushing forward. Damwon is not long for this world. Everybody is dropping dead right in front of our eyes. RNG, they're on the Nexus. Damwon has no ability to stop this. It's game over. To be the best, you gotta beat the best. And RNG take down the world champs to become your MSI champions of 2021.
Suddenly, there were a few creeping doubts about Damwon. Sure, they were still incredibly strong. Khan, Canyon, Showmaker, Ghost, Beryl, these were last year's world champions, already legends of the game. They weren't suddenly bad, but had China caught up to them? Well, over in the LPL, EDG had surprised a lot of people by becoming summer split champions over Fun plus Phoenix.
Can he make the impossible possible? Scout trying to move on in. Tien jumps into the pit, but he's already gone down the Baron, taken by EDG, and they look for the fight as well. Do and B will fall in the midst of enemies, and EDG push forward. 1,462 days since the last time that EDG won a finals. The faithful are rewarded again. What matters most is how well you walk through the fire, and this blaze has been extinguished.
So going into Worlds in October, there were a couple of different narratives floating around. LCK fans maintained that Korea was still on top. Damwon had won last year's Worlds, they dominated Korea all year and come a close second at MSI. Those who worship at the church of LPL wanted everyone to know that China was back on top, that last year was just a blip, and the Chinese victories of 2018 and 2019 were about to continue. Now, EDG's status as one of the tournament favourites had wavered a little bit after finishing second in their group to SKT, and some people saw them as underdogs going into the quarterfinals versus RNG. Now, to give this all a little bit of historical context, it's important to remember that when it comes to Worlds, EDG has always been horrendously down bad. Despite some great rosters over the years that have dominated the LPL, in the 5 years that they've attended Worlds, they'd never made it past quarterfinals. They just collapse like a flan in a cupboard. But a closely fought 3-2 series saw them take down this year's MSI champions, and when they did exactly the same thing to Gen G in semi-finals, people didn't know what to think. This was uncharted territory for everyone, including EDG fans. I mean, sure, they got to the final, but they done it in perhaps the most scuffed way possible. A second place finish in groups into 2 3-2 series. They look good, but you couldn't call it dominant. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, Damwon breezed past Mad Lions but dropped 2 games to a surging T1 in a closely fought series which saw Faker denied his 4th Worlds title. Damwon had done it. They got to the final, to where everyone thought they would be, even after a slight scare. Coming into this game, a lot of people had kind of written EDG off. Sure, they look good, but this was Damwon. This was the Korean powerhouse looking for their 2nd title and a chance to start a dynasty. Also, now's a good chance to mention Damwon's top laner, Khan. He's simply a legend of the game, and this tournament was his last dance, his last shot at getting that elusive Worlds title before retiring. Add to that players like Canyon and Showmaker, who have been in the discussion for best player on the planet, and it was kind of difficult to not side with Damwon for this series.
I think it's going to be a 3-0 for Damwon. I think Damwon's playstyle is fantastic. I think T1 was able to kind of capitalize it on a little bit because of how flexible they were in draft with things like Lissandra, Poppy, these kind of target picks, Zillion, to actually win out games by neutralizing Damwon's early game and winning out in mid to late game through neutral objectives. But I think
chance for the LPL
no
squad.
chance. I think EDG don't have the flexibility that T1 did, and I think Damwon is just going to run away with this series.
All right, Azale, where's your head at?
I mean, I'm on the Damwon side. I think it's almost impossible not to be. You know, I do think that Canyon is such a difference maker here. I think he really is too much for JJ, but I do think that EDG can team fight with Damwon. I think that they will be able to get a game. I have it 3-1, but I think if EDG can have a strong early game, they can match in the 5v5. I just think they're not as well rounded.
But if the script said that it was supposed to be a 3-0 stomp for Damwon, nobody gave EDG a copy of that before game 1.
It's burning down for now. In goes JJ though into the backside. It's flash out immediately from Ghost as the Jarvan out of position but still able to grab the kill. And look at all of that healing as well. He's going to get resurrected from the chrono shift, and now it's Damwon Kia that are on the run. Canyon is not rooted just yet, but Khan is just dead. Down goes Canyon as well, and there is the Rift Herald. Can bring them back to life. In goes JJ. They just explode Showmaker. He is so important for their team fight, and he goes Golden as well. He's got the Sterix. He's got the chrono shift. It's an immortal Jarvan trying to win the team fight, and EDG have lost no one. In goes Peril once again, but it's going to be a sacrifice, and Damwon Kia are left with corpses on the Rift. The Nexus turrets are falling, and for a series that so many predicted was a 3-0, yes it might be, but it's not going to be for Damwon Kia. Edward Gaming absolutely wiping the floor with our former world champions.
The script got back on track though in game 2 with an absolute masterclass from Canyon and Khan. Honestly, Khan's Graves made me want to just play Graves for like 5 hours straight. In fact, I might do that tonight. Game 3 saw Damwon claw victory from a goal deficit thanks to some expertly played team fights and Showmaker just abusing Silas to the max. So, where are we now? Well, it's 2-1 to the current world champions. Sure, Damwon had a little bit of a shaky start, but you'd be crazy not to back them at this point. And just ignore the teams for a second, history itself said the next game and the series itself should go to Damwon. There had only ever been a single Worlds final up to this point that had gone to 5 games. You were statistically trolling if you thought this one was. But, as we all found out, this wasn't a day for logic.
Yeah, this could be the pick up. The minion wave turns up in the nick of time, but Ghost could be the one to go down, and he absolutely is. The Heartbreaker comes in, but now JJ in a bit of trouble. He just gets himself over the wall. Canyon explodes as well as Nami is turned into a fish finger.
Rumors of the LPL's demise have been greatly exaggerated at Worlds this year. My friends, EDG will just put a stomp down on game number 4. Push us to Silver Scrapes, push us to that game 5, Alice.
Right, it's difficult to explain the gravity of this moment. It's 2-2 in a Worlds final. That's only ever happened twice in League's 11-year history. Like, holy shit. Not only that, Damwon had only lost 2 games on their way to the final, so it seemed unthinkable that they'd lose 3 in one series. But the craziness and silver scrapes that was erupting on Western Twitter was nothing compared to the real-life scenes from China as EDG headed into Game 5.
EDG! No name! EDG! No name! EDG! No name! Không có tên!
And as it turns out, it might have been the best game in the entire series. It was a game of inches until a single pick opened it up for EDG at the 23-minute mark.
Force him to use some...
Showmaker.
Yeah, he's so far forward, has to flash out. The scan of the week is good, but it's not good enough. The slicing Maelstrom comes in, and now Khan trying to take down Canyon. There's the collateral damage, finally. He gets it done, and he's not done yet. JJ taking a lot of damage. Khan will fall down. Ghost is still alive, doing a fair bit of work, but Beryl, he's in the middle of 4 people, and EDG will wipe them off the map. It's just a lonely Ziggs, and EDG have full control.
Now, most teams in the world who are playing against an EDG in this position, in this kind of form, would roll over. They'd probably just sit back and hope that EDG made a mistake. But this was Damwon we're talking about. With their backs against the wall, they pulled off the single cheekiest two-man Baron in the history of the game. And despite EDG's presence on the map, they didn't have a clue.
Wait, the two-man Baron is going on right now. EDG have no idea.
Yeah, and Damwon can throw down the ultimate from the Ziggs. The Baron's still going down.
This is the World Finals, and they're sneaking it with 2 people. 3K left. Canyon going down, burning.
Mako, can he actually get a ward into this pit? He does, and he gets the bad news. It is taken by Khan. There was no smite because Canyon had to use it to stay alive.
I mean, honestly, everyone lost their fucking minds at that point. Damwon had no right doing that, but they refused to simply bleed out in a slow death to EDG. But after 40 minutes, 24 kills, 2 Barons, 5 Dragons, and an Elder Dragon, the unthinkable finally became a reality.
There is one turret between EDG and history right now as Viper dashes forward. Showmaker goes golden, but it's not going to keep him alive. Mako is going to be the sacrificial lamb, but it's a double kill already for Flandre. Lightning rushing his way out of this one, and now the Nexus is exposed. Damwon Kia are limping, and EDG have the man advantage. The Nexus will go down, and against all odds, EDG will be your 2021 World Champions.
They've done it! They've actually done it! The LPL is back on top!
The Mad Lads actually did it. After first appearing at Worlds in 2014 and failing to get past quarterfinals at each of the 5 times they attended, they show up in 2021 and win the whole thing. And if you had any doubt about what this meant to the long-suffering EDG fans, the videos coming out of China said it all. What was great about EDG this Worlds was that they clearly improved as the tournament went on. The EDG that came second in their group after dropping a game to North America's 100 Thieves, no offense, probably couldn't have beaten Damwon. But they learnt from that, and then they played back-to-back best-of-5 series in quarters and semis that both went to a Game 5. EDG played 16 games on their way to the final. That's a lot of practice. As exhausting as that is, that might have been what gave them the edge when they faced off against a seemingly invincible Damwon. Not always, but usually, Worlds Finals are a pretty one-sided affair. This game was anything but. It was messy, it was scrappy, it could have gone either way. As one Redditor pointed out, EDG's 13 wins and 8 losses during the tournament was the lowest win rate for a Worlds winner in the tournament's history. And perhaps the 5-game slugfest, the anime storylines, and the upset ending helped contribute to this year's ridiculous viewing figures. Worlds 2021 beat its personal record from 2 years ago for peak viewership, clocking in at over 4 million peak viewers, and that's excluding any viewers from China. Which I'm sure you can imagine, with EDG winning a final that went all the way to 5 games, were probably insane. The headline is, League's doing alright. Next year, we'll have crowds. Next year, we'll have fresh teams and faces to go alongside the veterans whose storylines have kept us gripped for the better part of a decade. Worlds is over, it was sick, but now, let's get those juicy off-season rumours flowing, shall we? I really hope Bjerg doesn't go to Team Liquid. Probably going to go, isn't he? When it comes to Worlds, EDG has always been horrendously down bad. I don't know if that sounds right coming out of my mouth, but yeah. I'm like horrendously down bad. It's like fucking David Attenborough. I'm like, EDG has always been horrendously down bad. That was a really fucking good impression. That actually shocked me. Here we are. Worlds 2021.